Let's look at Ethereum. Not on the 5 minute. Let's go. Let's. Ooh. Ooh. That is a breakout and a half. Holy shit. All right, so not only... All right, let's back up. A trend line is just marking the previous highs. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. A break above. Several 4-hour candle closes. Touching it from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a continuation. That is sleazy as hell. Now remember, we're watching this big macro pattern developing because the expectation is that this is the start of a big, nasty uptrend. And we're concluding that because we look back at Bitcoin. I like how these graphics don't scale. I was actually in like the 5-minute thing and made that. Here we are. It's gigantic. Because back when Bitcoin was in this $200 range, 200 to 300, it did the exact same pattern as Ethereum today and consolidated and then broke out and up and continued and went on its big nasty bull run and made a 100x from the lows. From like in there. Oh, what is this shit? From in there to there was a 100x return. And here we have Bitcoin doing something very similar. Interesting. Jordanky, what's up, man? If you put your Bitcoin chart over the ETH chart, it's basically, but yeah, exactly. I mean, you've been around long enough to know the story. So this is arguably a continuation of that. So this is very, very sick. Anybody who's in an Ethereum long, you just basically want to hold it right here. Let's see how Ethereum Bitcoin looks. So that's graphing Ethereum next to Bitcoin. You can kind of get a feel for what's what. Now that's really interesting too. What this is telling you is that there was an uptrend for about a full year from 2020 to August of 2020. And it is now broken. And broken cleanly to the downside, right? We had lots of touches along the way. And what this is telling you is that you should trade your Ethereum for Bitcoin. And whether that continues, who knows? But that's what that's what this particular chart is trying to say. Interesting. That looks so goddamn clean. Shit chart, that one. Yeah, you don't love it. You don't like that at all, do you? Oh, I gotta mess with I knocked my camera over earlier. Hopefully I still have a really shitty camera. Atani, I'm here in the next probably 2 months, month and a half. Update your Streamer Pro and update your title Streamer Pro. Yeah, okay. Oh wait, did it not say from the last time I did it? Yeah, it did. What do I need to change? Screw you, dude. By the way, I was gonna say, Atani, I will be moving into another room, and there's a ton of room in there. I can even set up like the VR for like streaming and stuff. It'll be pretty cool. But if you've got any like room setup suggestions, hit me up. Let me know. Dude, this was wild. I was at work just talking to people, and they're, I work in like the normal world, like traditional finance, and everyone's talking about interest rates and I'm trying to explain, like, interest rates are going to keep going down. At least that's my expectation. And blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, my phone is over here going like ping, ping, ping. I have little alert set for TradingView, or I did, like 14.1, 14.4, 14.5, 15, 15.3, 15.6. I was like, trying not to show my erection, world. Well, Atani, you said it depends on your budget. You know, we're 50, 60% up from our entries. So, you know, come on, man. Come on. We got that Bitcoin money. I'm gonna hit you with that. Why did I do the hey guys? I didn't mean to do that. All right. So one thing I did want to discuss, though, no bullshit with you guys, is what happened last cycle. Basically, the question you should be asking is, where's the top? Where's the peak? If you go off of like momentum, a really good idea of where the peak of this move is actually what we just saw. It's like 15.9 on Bitfinex. On Coinbase, I think it actually hit 16. Let's look real quick. There's Coinbase. Yeah, it hits. Does that say 16.1? Oh, no, it didn't. It didn't. It hit 15.977. Okay, so we got within 23 bucks for Coinbase. Okay. So going by momentum, like a very conservative thing to do would be to sell here. But here's the comma but. Let's look at what happened at this point in the last cycle. And again, I'm going to go to Bitfinex because it just has kind of a better history. All right. So again, we were in an election year. We had this kind of consolidation pattern, and then it broke to the upside. Whoop. All right. So price, let's see, we're at this pattern started at the beginning of November, kind of where we are now. So we're right in here somewhere, like currently in this period of time. Okay. But the price action is mirroring this. And what actually happened was this exploded out of this little consolidation and tapped the prior all-time high. That's what this white line is. See this? I just drew it straight horizontally over, and we smacked the all-time high across. This is about 2 weeks. So from that to that is about 2 weeks. So over a 2-week period, hey Emmett, how you doing, buddy? Over a 2-week period, we just went on a face melting bull run with some consolidation along the way. But the punchline was we attacked the prior all-time high. So what if? See what I'm getting at? See what I'm getting at? What if this was 45%? Okay, how far away from the prior all-time high are we right now? So this very top dotted line is our prior all-time high. Let me make it solid so we know. Solid. Thick boy. How far away from this consolidation pattern that we just saw, because I'm trying to make it as apples to apples as possible. So from that pattern, how far away are we from the all-time high? We're about 40%, you know, give or take how you kind of range it in here. In fact, if you go to the bottom of the last candle inside, we're 45%. So we are literally, you know what? I think I can show it best here. There we go. All right, so from the pattern to the top was about 50%. And then here, that's 20K. Enough. All right, and then from this last little consolidation to the prior all-time high is about 50% as well. Like if we use this kind of bottom candle, we effectively did there. So, I mean, price action is acting very, very, very similar. What's up, Buck? How you doing, man? Big Dick Buck in the chat, everybody. That's his real name. Buck Rogers is just his nickname, but he's really Big Dick Buck. All right, so this is what I'm wondering, and this is why I'm exactly BDB. This is why I'm hesitant to just immediately sell everything I have. So if you're a momentum trader, you should be already out. Like when we were in the 15.9s, everything is screaming overbought. So if that's the way you trade, you should be out and you should be like just sitting on your hands. But what's giving me pause is at this same period last cycle, when we were after the election, right? Which is, I mean, we're effectively in the election period right now. So this is moving faster than it did last time. But after the election and after some consolidation, the very first significant breakup, which was this, the very first significant breakup led to an attack of the all-time high. And we're the same percentage away from the all-time high, roughly, that we were last time. So this is what I'm like very excited about. Let's see if we can find some other indicators that may suggest the same thing, that, hey, we're headed for the all-time high. Like, this is our theory, and now we're like scientists. We're trying to find things that, you know, maybe this is true or maybe it's not, but let's go back and kind of look and see what could give us some clues. Well, one of the things we look at is Litecoin. Okay. Litecoin, because when Litecoin finished its multi-year consolidation, which Charlie Lee helped make because he actually sold a lot of Litecoin in this period, thinking it would never break $4. That's a funny little Charlie Lee story. Once it actually broke out and started melting faces, the conclusion of this multi-year consolidation was the attack of the all-time high for Bitcoin. Okay, does that make sense? So this is what happened the last time. And again, we're looking for clues for, are we about to hit the all-time high? Because that would be very interesting. We have this apex of a consolidation pattern right at the same time Bitcoin shoves over about 10 days 45 to 50% and touches the prior all-time high. Okay, so again, let's see where we are now. Holy shit, it's the same thing. We have a multi-year consolidation pattern that's coming to a close, coming to a conclusion. And one of two things is happening literally right now. Either this little wiki boy is going to retrace, and then we're going to continue on for another month or 2 months or whatever, where even if it does continue, we're talking between now and the first quarter of 21 for like a real breakout, if this ends up being fake, or we're seeing the start of a true breakout. Now, what you want to see is, because of like what happened right here, hang on, let me zoom in for you. There we go. We have had breakouts that then fully retraced. And once they start closing candles back inside this pattern, it's typically will go all the way back to the bottom, which would signal, you know, we just need more time. So it's either a real breakout and we're about to shove all the way to the all-time high, or we need a little more time. And what we're seeing with Bitcoin right now is going to just consolidate. And the fact that it's all the way back down to 15.5, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the answer, is that it just needs to consolidate. Now, it's funny, I catch myself saying it's all the way back down to 15.5, but let's have a reality check right now. Okay. This is going to be weird for anybody who trades. The higher we go in price, the less big moves, like $500 moves, the less they actually are as a percentage. So like, for example, on the daily, we are 2% below the high, the 16K high. So even though it's like $500, it's 2%. Oh, what's up, Alka? Don't downplay the Charlie exit. That was the single largest exit at a peak ever. No, I'm talking about back at the $4 range, not when Charlie sold the peak. Charlie Lee is also famous for putting out a tweet, literally, I think in here, like right at that very, very, very top. And he said, you guys should, how did he word it? It was something to the effect of, don't get sucked into this. Think long term. Price went from $4 to $350. It will go back 80-90%. Like, he had some little thing he said, and he's forever known as the guy who sold the top. No conflict of interest. What do you mean, Buck? What do you mean by that? What I was talking about, and Buck, I'll let you respond, but while you're responding. Oh, as he was at Coinbase? I don't know. That's a good question. You know, he had to answer some, I think it was like a civil suit over that. And I don't think anything big happened of it or came of it, because you would have heard about it. Roger Veras refused to comment as well. I don't know. Maybe he had like some kind of quiet agreement, but there is a special item that had a number of Litecoin on it, like a large number, and it may or may not have sold somewhere in there, like a life-changing amount of Litecoin. So what I was saying earlier when I brought up Charlie Alka was that he sold a ton, like a metric shit ton of Litecoin in here, and you know, look what it's done, and look what it's actually doing again. If you zoom out on a large enough time frame, like here we are on the dailies, it seems to just kind of mirror the breakouts of Bitcoin. And you know, maybe this is what we do, like maybe this is what Litecoin does forever, at least as long as it's useful, is like keep doing these consolidations and then like break up, kind of on and on and on. But it is a significantly different pattern than Ethereum, where Ethereum is showing classic Wyckoff accumulation that suggests big, massive bull run coming up. Litecoin doesn't show the same thing, but Litecoin does show that we're coming to a conclusion, and most likely we're going to have a market-wide breakout. So I use Litecoin as the canary in the coal mine. That's the whole point of this little part. Oh, he said he sold so there would be no conflict of interest, I thought. Yeah, he did. I don't know. It's hard for him to say anything that people would accept, like no matter what the story was. We just don't know. We don't know. I do know, just from personally, you know, chatting with him, is that he didn't owe anybody anything. This was kind of his perspective, in the fact that he earned every one of those Litecoins from mining it. So this would be like getting mad at a Bitcoin miner for selling their Bitcoin, even if they're just paying overhead or whatever. So that's how he viewed it. It was like, look, I mean, I mined Litecoin, I put in the work, it went up in value, and I sold it at the end. But obviously, as you can see on like his Twitter feeds and stuff, he gets shit relentlessly for it. So, all right, let's look at a couple other things. Dragon was thrown out. My boy Dragon. Where'd I move you? I moved it around somewhere. There we go. Look at this ugly piece of shit. All right, so back when I was tweeting about Dragon, I was talking about how it's with any altcoin, you take profit. Taking profit is the key. If you don't, you will find these coins unintentionally that are on forever downtrends. All right, this is, you know, like the Forever Alone subreddit. You'll be on the Forever Downtrend subreddit. So when I was saying like, hey, we just pulled a 3x in literally 2 weeks, maybe take some profit, this is why. We've fully retraced the move, and we are now in price discovery to the downside, which is what you don't want to be in. If you own any Dragon, now again, this is always pay attention to like what the pair is, whether it's USD or Bitcoin. This is on the Bitcoin pair. But all that means is if an alt, a little lesson here. If an alt Bitcoin pair is going down, that means the alt price could be going up, but Bitcoin could be going up twice as fast. Okay. So now this chart will continue to look like that if that's the case. Also, it can mean the USD of the alt is just going sideways while Bitcoin goes up. And that would also result in a graph like this. So anytime a graph like on the Bitcoin pair shows you that we're in price discovery to the downside, what that's trying to tell you is take that money and put it into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will out earn it. And you can kind of click through lots of coins. This is Ethereum Classic. Here is EOS. On and on and on. There's a number of those. No cursing. Shit. Oh, wait. Okay, we hadn't started yet. Now we're starting. So we're gonna start for it's 9:01 my time. Gotta give it to 9:11, or I have to give to sub. That's the deal. So you guys police me, chat. Let me know. All right. So to answer, like, what I think was kind of your insinuated question, Atani, like if someone should buy, you should not buy any dragon right now. You should be 100% out of it. Sadly, I like cursing. Yeah, me too. It's kind of natural. But what we are seeing here, I feel like I teach a college class half the time, like, because I like looking at and like kind of Rubik's cubing a lot of this together and figuring out what's what. And so I'm gonna help you realize what this pattern is. So for forever into the future, hopefully if you're trading an alt, you can see this exact chart and you can be like, Jack told me what this is. I know exactly what this is. By the way, you guys got to tell me this. I just realized that my screen was like not full. Come on, guys. All right, there we go. This is what's known as Wyckoff redistribution. Okay. Open image in new tab. Okay. Wyckoff redistribution. Let's talk about what it is really quick. Wyckoff realized that if you have a lot of something and you need to exit that particular investment, you don't go as the market's panicking and then sell at the bottom. That's silly. You be the guy who buys here, buys here, buys here, break above the trade range to kind of trick people, and you sell up in here. And then hands off the wheel, like you don't support the price up anymore, which had been the case right here. So let us, here we go. All right. So here's Wyckoff redistribution. We have several touches of the highs and lows, a break to the upside, a return into the trade range, and then a breakdown into new lows. Okay. So here we go. Let's look at this. Let's see if we can identify this. All right. Well, we have low, high, low, high, low, a big breakout. Hey, everybody buy, everybody buy. This is great. Add volume. Okay. I had removed volume before just for ease of some things I was trying to show. Here we go. Volume. All right. So on these breakouts, lots of people excited, but then the second you start closing back inside the trade range, that's when your little spidey sense should be going off. Because 9 times out of 10, no matter what the asset is, as soon as you return into, like, you break a trade range, but then you return to it, it's usually GG. That's usually all she wrote. And at minimum, you'll retrace to the bottom. But most of the time, especially when you have something like this, what it is suggesting is that you're going to go to the bottom and then break to new lows. So price discovery to the downside. So let's draw something on here, and then we'll kind of watch it over the coming weeks and see if it actually comes to fruition. But this whole pattern, we're going to label this as redistribution. Okay. And that would indicate that we're going to break to new lows. All right. So again, we'll check in on this from time to time and we'll see if this is actually what happens or not. Now, again, I'm going to show you the little schematic one more time. Redistribution. Negative Satoshis. Yeah, it's because of how I scaled the chart to be able to like show. That's actually a really good call though. No, I mean, obviously you wouldn't go negative, but you would go down to like, if this is 250 Satoshis right now, where there are many assets that are like 10 Satoshis, 15, 20 Satoshis. So it'd be something like that. Let's show one other item that we were watching. TRX Bitcoin. Okay, so we've been watching this for weeks. In fact, once I think I started streaming and pointed this out kind of like right after this, and I was asking the question, could this be Wyckoff accumulation? Much like we know Ethereum is. Like we knew 100% that Ethereum is undergoing Wyckoff accumulation, right? This is, we've mapped it out, we're watching it. We have our biases, like if it breaks here, if it breaks this particular line or that line and closes below it, then it's probably not, and it's a bust. But we're watching TRX, and sure enough, it broke back into the trade range, which is what we were watching. And as soon as it broke down there, that was your signal to exit. And it's all the way back down. And in fact, it's making not new historic lows, like all-time lows, but new relative lows going back several months. So if this is redistribution, as I'm kind of expecting it to be, this is what we're going to see, is some breakdown, you know, a retouch, maybe a retouch, and then a continuation. Doesn't Sun have control of that one though? Like Ripple is manipulated. So I don't know, but just like Ripple, like let's look at an XRP Bitcoin chart. Just like Ripple, there's constant sell pressure from the founders, from the creators. They kind of like create Ripple and kind of float it over to their wallet, and they sell it in tranches, and regular investors are the ones to buy it, which is kind of crazy. I don't know enough to say how Tron is set up, but I can tell you that this chart is super ugly, and it screams that we're going to new lows, probably new all-time lows, like into a fraction of a Satoshi. Like maybe, see, before the initial breakout, it was 17 Satoshis. So I think that's as good a target as any. So let's we'll put our little horizontal here, and we'll watch this from time to time, and we'll see if it actually hits that. Before Alka yells at me for having a negative Satoshi arrow, I'll delete that one. Oop. Retest. Alka, hell, oil went negative. Yeah, it did. Now, a lot of that had to do with, it wasn't the actual price of oil, but it was a contract for a bunch of oil. And the reason it went negative is because at some point, if the oil's worthless, you still had to pay to take custody of it. So people were like, dude, look, I'll give you a discount. Like, I'll pay you to take this off my hands because I cannot provide custody for 1,000 barrels of oil. Like I physically don't have the, I can't do it. And a lot of the, there are storage places where people would rent the oil. Like they would basically pay to keep the oil there. And all of those places were full. So they couldn't even do that. So that was not even an option. By the way, I know it's not Christmas, but we're getting there. But I got my Bitcoin mug out because I believe, I feel like it's the Christmas spirit to, why's the lighting all off? But I feel like it, there we go. I have to have the Christmas spirit because I think we're headed for the all-time high. I think, because this is really, really powerful. What's going on here? This move. Okay. Here's let's provide a reality check real quick. What if it doesn't go to the all-time high and it starts selling off? And your friends are looking to you and they're like, hey, when should I buy? When's a good time to buy? And we're all kind of having that. Almost so you can get my fingerprints. Buck, you probably already have it, you bastard. I've been to conferences with you, you sneaky ass. Probably have my fingerprints already. So as Bitcoin pushes to its highs, one of the most commonly questions we're going to have is we being the Bitcoin community, right? Which I'm assuming if you're here, you're probably like, Bitcoin's not sexy to people right now, but it will be, because that's just how these market cycles work. It's like, we have to break this all-time high, and then every other news cycle will include something about Bitcoin. And it'll be, some people are screaming scam and others are screaming that it's going to change the world and blah, blah, blah. There's going to be all kinds of biases, but regardless, you're going to hear about it. And so if somebody's interested, they're going to ask you point blank, when should I buy? Tell me, should it be today? Maybe it's today. Or should it be in the future? You know, what should it be? So if you're anything like me, I like to give these guys a buy, like a buy signal or buy level or point where it's very hard to lose money. And so one of the things that I've noticed by going back through and kind of spot checking is the 20-week exponential moving average, the 20 EMA. Okay. And what that is during a bull run, it's just like the prior 20 weeks added together and then find the average price. That's essentially all it is. But you can see this is back when Bitcoin was breaking up from its $200 to $300 range. Every time it revisited, well, I'm gonna actually turn volume off because it's not helpful for this discussion. Every time we revisited the 20 EMA, it was a massive buy signal. Like it acted as the floor. Now, as price action continues to develop, this particular cycle, we'll see if that continues to hold true. But if we're trying to be any sort of helpful for any of our folks, then this 20 EMA is kind of a guideline. It's something to use or consider as the floor, because literally every time it touched from 200 to 20,000 was a buy, was like a massive signal to buy. So that being said, let's look where we are in relationship to that right now. And you can see we're really far past it. Super, super far past it. So right now that line's about 11.4, and every week it will continue to grow, especially as price continues to close higher and higher and higher. But remember, last time we attacked the prior all-time high was right here. It was this. And we got very, very far from the 20 EMA as well, which is arguably what we're seeing right now. So we are 57% above the all-time high. The all-time high was 57% above the 20-week moving average. So let's see if that's roughly where we are today. So the prior all-time high is even higher from our weekly moving average, so that is of concern to me. Well, this is BLX, so it's based on daily closes. This is the liquid index. Anyway, we'll get into that later. But the prior all-time high is about 70% from our moving average, whereas last cycle we only went about 40% to get there. So a 40% move or 45% move would put us at about 16.5, somewhere in there. So I don't know. We gotta kind of see. But I think it would be irresponsible to tell someone to buy like literally today at today's price right this second. I mean, it could end up being great, but it would also be it could be catastrophic. So it would be a better idea, or at least as far as like keeping relationships and, you know, making people not hate you. In my opinion, it would be wiser to just say, hey, look, I'll keep an eye on this trend line for you. But anytime we revisit it, it could be in a month, it could be in 3 months, but anytime we're around that would be, in my opinion, a better time to buy. If they're trying to just all in buy with one chunk. Option B is they could just do bits and pieces of buys. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Good time to buy is when we were texting them at 4K. Jesus, I know. In fact, that tweet that I put out where I said, I hope you idiots bought Bitcoin. I actually sent that to another group of my friends who they love to text me Bitcoin stuff, but they didn't actually buy any. And so I literally texted them that, and I was like, oh, that'd be a funny tweet. So that's when I put that out. Yeah. The Bitcoin looks like it's pulling back a little bit. What are you doing? Oh, girl. So we're either going to see a repeat of this, like kind of a new small time frame parabolic run, if it can find some support somewhere, or it's going to just be catastrophic. So this will be funny. Let's watch this. Let's see. Now what I'm about to say only applies if it breaks down. Okay, that is the caveat for what I'm about to say. On paper and in textbooks, a parabolic run will always pull back 80% or more, usually 85. So that's the run. Here. Question is, should it be back here, back here? I'm gonna use that. All right, so price should return if this completely breaks down. Big if. If the move's not over yet, then this doesn't apply. But like if, say you just sold and you were looking for another buy opportunity, you would either buy a breakout of the highs, or you would go down to, oops, that somewhere in there, which is the 13 whatever range. I don't know. So we'll see. We will see. Very exciting though, regardless. See a chart like this. Go from 10,000. So we pulled a 50x in how long? How short of a time? Let's. What? No. I said a 50x. A 50% move. Price went 50%. In a month. Holy crap. I hadn't looked at it like that. Had you guys seen that? This is a 1 month move. So if I put it on the monthly, it'll just be a single candle. Well, it's bleeding across 2 months. So if I put it to the weekly, it'll show 4 or 5 weeks. This is wild. 50% move. Wow. This needs to be further away from the 200 to be parabolic. Monthly contracts are way up. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, there's going to be a reckoning here. But at the same time, let's look at overhead resistance, because most people worry about the people who are stuck. Let me rephrase this. Most traders who are trading and, trading an asset to the upside, like longing something, they worry about overhead resistance. So for example, if you watched this move take place and then pull all the way back to here, and let's say you're a buyer in there, you're worried about zones. You're worried about that zone. You're worried about this zone. And you're especially worried about this zone, where the concentration of most buyers who are stuck in a position are in here. Okay, which is kind of arguably why you could extend this and see price reacting the way it did, because there's so many people stuck in this position, because there's lots and lots of buyers, right? Because that was several weeks of buying. There's so many people stuck there that anytime the price gets anywhere remotely for that, they're like, I'm out, sold. So that's the little background of why we care about overhead resistance. But the only thing we have is a handful of weeks at the prior all-time high, which is why I'm saying that is another thing telling me there's a chance we could go to the all-time high, like within a couple, like weeks, or I guess I should say days, not months, because in a number of days there is nothing. This is open air. And yeah, we had some guys who got stuck literally 3 years ago. coming up on, yeah, 3 years ago. There were some people stuck up there, but the odds that they haven't already sold during this bullshit, or like, especially as this broke again, the odds that they haven't already exited their positions is really, really slim. So there's not much to stop us. This is gonna be crazy. All right, catch up on chat here. You're extra. Where them bears at? They're dead, bro. Absolutely. 100% they're dead. In the woods dropping a deuce. Yeah, they're dead. They're out being hunted. There's some really interesting stuff on Twitter too about funding. People who are trying to margin long, there is no funding available. Like, it's being gobbled up. And speaking of funding, I just want to show this really quick because this is hilarious to me. All right. Let me... I was looking at MACD, but let me get rid of this real quick. We don't need it right now. Let's look at what the funding rate is doing right now. The market has gone from being really bullish. I'm sorry, being really bearish to a little bullish, right? And that's when this kind of started consolidating once people got bullish, to now it is still bearish. There are no massive longs being taken out right now. According to, this is the Bitmex data, okay? Other exchanges are showing some different things, but this is one we've been tracking because it's actually been really, really accurate. Like, when we watched this drop and we saw this, we watched this during one of the live streams, and one of the first things I came on and said was like, look, this is typically a signal that it ain't going down. The whales will not allow it to go down. Now what scared me was when I saw that, because there was a period where that's when I get nervous. So stuff is consolidating, and then we see these massive longs coming out, and I was like, oh shit, okay, we're done. That's it. But once it closed and the bears continue to hold their bearish stance, there we sat. And here's something else that's really interesting. This little parabolic curve thing that I'm drawing, this is actually the 20 weekly EMA. Remember, we were just talking about how that's a good time to buy. It is literally that. It is, the price is all up in that, getting all up in that good. Okay. So the 20 EMA, let's just go ahead and make this really clear, is your WAP. Okay. If you don't know what that is, go and Google it and listen to the song. You'll love it. Tex Army's favorite song. And that's your key. There you go. All right. Any questions? Anybody got anything they want to take a glance at? Ooh, XMR is shitting the bed so bad. Oh no. Oh, Bucky. Oh no. What did we say about things forming a trade range, breaking up, and then breaking back down? What did we say that leads to? Remember, class, who was listening? 1 marble and 2 sticks of gum for whoever remembers. What does it mean when you form a trade range, break above it, and then break back down into it? Come on, who's got it? Fuck, you are incorrect. Tex, you are correct. Remember, we were looking at TRX on the Bitcoin pair, and what was the other one? Dragon on the Bitcoin pair. Yes, this is XMR on the Bitcoin pair, so not the USD, right? So the USD could go on and, you know, make a fortune, but again, we're worried about how is it going to perform compared to Bitcoin, and what this is. Yeah, so the USD is probably still going to be fine, but what this is suggesting to you, if you were trading this, like, and your life depended on it, what you would be doing is you would have sold during one of these candles, a clean break below the prior low, and then a retest of the high, and multiple failed attempts to get up above it, right? These are dailies. So this is like 5 days worth of attempts to get back above this line, and it couldn't do it. So now it is clearly in the trade range. There's two things you watch for: a revisit to here, and a breakdown to new lows. Which I hate to say, because I actually had a lot of XMR I had planned to buy, but not after this. This is ugly as hell. So the move, if you want to accumulate more, is to have the funds that you were going to use to buy XMR. You would have that in Bitcoin right now, because this pair is telling you that Bitcoin is outperforming Litecoin, and the trend is that it will continue. That Bitcoin will outperform XMR, and that the trend would continue. Now, what would invalidate my comments, what would make what I'm saying completely wrong, is if it gets back above the prior trade range. Okay. So that is the only way to like be sure, which is about a 22% move. So not only would it have to get back to the trade range, it needs to close consistently above it in a way that tells the market that this is serious. So that would be my play. I would basically be rotating. It's hard to do it now that you're halfway down, because you may get some kind of like, you know, quasi consolidation and you get some better chances to exit. But I would expect this. And the way that several other alt Bitcoin pairs are looking right now, I think you're going to get a retouch of the bottom and then a continuation to the downside, unfortunately. And again, I'm a huge XMR proponent. I believe in it. I do. But I cannot ignore a break back into the trade range when I see something like this, especially when it looks just like TRX. And also Doge, or sorry, Dragon. I think we're all, and which would make sense. Like, if things are going, if Bitcoin's going to start going gangbusters, like say it does attack the all-time high, everything else, everyone's going to be selling their bullshit, whatever, to ride that train. And it's a matter of the fact that Bitcoin has the momentum. So everyone's like, I want to be on that train. Like, I want to get on that bus because that one's moving. And so everyone's shifting. They're selling their whatever coin, you know, whatever it is. They don't care, but they want to be on that. And then once that's done, then you can kind of look into maybe what the next play is. All right, Little Sugar, what's up, man? Sup, Jack? Pull up a VECHAIN chart and take a look. All right, brother. I will do that. I'm going to look at VECHAIN Bitcoin and then VECHAIN Tether. Kabina, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Oh, VECHAIN Bitcoin. Oh, shit. But look, immediately, this is what jumps out as well. That a bottom was formed. We broke way out. Holy shit. I would again expect a retest of this bottom and then a Wyckoff redistribution event to occur. That's absolutely what I would expect. Just looking at the chart now, we'll update this as things go. We'll look at it from week to week. No, you know, whatever. We'll keep watching it, but this would be my expectation. Basically, a complete retrace of the initial move. Okay, 16K, fucking nice. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me read Bucks real quick. So, how do you determine a good pair when Bitcoin goes parabolic? Won't most, if not all, alts look weak in comparison? Yeah. Yeah, it will. But you basically want to find things that start grinding sideways for a period of time. I don't know why I keep doing because that is typically the only way to tell when a move is going to happen. So this is just in my personal experience. Basically, you have like the volatility starts getting compressed tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And you see not necessarily that there's a floor, like it's not that the price never went below that, but you see how it's like massive price differences over and over. And then all of a sudden it's like it's contained within this maybe 5 to 10% little range, and then starts to move its way up. And then you can even start making you know, you can do a little bit of TA fuckery and then say, oh, well, look, this is starting to break out. It's actually breaking above that prior high, and it's after price has been condensed and consolidated for this is what, 5-6 months, and then it pops. Okay, so just like, go back to Dragon real quick. Dragon does the same thing. It likes to find, grind along the bottom, and then pop. Grind along the bottom, and then pop. Grind along the bottom, and then pop. So before we enter anything new, we're not going to be buying these new lows. Okay? The play would be, you would buy something that's like grinding along the sideways. Basically a new floor being formed. That is how I play. There's 100 ways to do it. That is the way that I prefer to do it. And I've been fairly successful at that. Let's see. Oh, VECHAIN. So I got sidetracked. Sorry. Let's look at. Wait, where'd it go? What happened there? Okay. VECHAIN. Oh, there it is. There. Oh, it's because it's VET. Ah, okay. That's what was throwing me. All right, so the Bitcoin pair looks ugly as hell. That was the takeaway. Now let's look at the USD pair. USD pair, it's ugly, but like I could kind of see it being maybe a decent time to buy. Maybe. I don't know, though. I don't know. If Bitcoin melts faces, this is going to sell off as well. Because people are just going to say, no, why would I gamble? Why would I risk something like this rather than take the sure bet, which is Bitcoin going to its all-time high? Like, okay, yeah, well, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take that bet. This is silly. Why am I trading all the million shit pairs when I know that, like, big dick Bitcoin is gonna do its thing? I'd rather be in that. Hell yeah. All right, back to you, Kabina. Hey Jack, 16K, fucking nice. I only got to invest 25% of what I wanted though, but still nice. Yeah, but just like we were saying, keep an eye on the 20 EMA on the weekly. Okay, and anytime we come back to it, look for an opportunity to buy. Now, let me caution you. So I hope to be, for you guys, I hope to be a voice of reason, and also somebody who can caution you against FOMOing in, because I have lost so much money FOMOing, especially in the prior cycle. So let me tell you one important thing. Again, let's look at where we are in the cycle. I'm proposing that we're relatively somewhere in here, like in this, like we had our little consolidation for the, you know, what's going to happen with the presidency and this, that, and the other. So I'm guessing, total guess, bullshit guess, that we're somewhere in here. Look at what this price action did. Okay. And imagine the feeling of watching the price go from $800 all the way to 1100, and probably buying along the way, thinking you're gonna miss, like you're gonna miss a lot of moves, like this is it, oh my god, you know, your friends are texting you, blowing you up, and then watch in a matter of days as it fully retraces the move, erasing any kind of profit you were in if you were margin trading, even putting you underwater if you spot bought anywhere along the way. Like imagine that feeling, how that would feel. That exact same thing could happen here. It literally, the exact same thing could happen. Okay. So if you have money and if you are looking to buy, this is why I caution you to use moving averages. Don't just FOMO in because, well, shit, you know, the guy I know, he bought in like here and now he's up like 30%. I'm the dumbass who didn't. So yeah, you gotta. Yeah. Okay. So Kabina said, yeah, I'm looking for that and keeping your rationing advice in mind. Right. Emotions is the enemy. Exactly. So I think what's given me a little bit of an edge in these markets and stuff is that I played a lot of poker before I got into crypto and stuff. So I'm really used to like feeling an urge and then showing restraint. Like that's kind of second nature for me. And it even like became more that point in Bitcoin. Now I am no god because I'll level with you guys. I'm going to put things on the weekly here. And let me show you where most of my buys are for this period of time. All right, so Bitcoin hit 20K, and I did get some sells in like the 18 and above range, and long-term buys, I got a handful in here. I did not all in, and then I got a handful up here. That little guy straight fakes. No, hold on, not that dude. This one. So it like pumped, came down, and then started to go again. It was like 9,500. That one got me good. I have like the majority of my stuff is in right around there, and then I kind of added along the way. Okay, but I'm happy with the fact that, you know, this will all average out to be say 8,500, something like that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Let's that long term, I will be completely fine with that. But I am glad that I at least had the restraint to see a move like this, and I was like, nah. And I sat on my hands through all this and that, watched it do this, and then on the way back up, I FOMO'd in. Like, and I messed up. I shouldn't have done it. But, you know, live and learn. Here we are. But hopefully I can help, you know, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. If I can help anybody, I want to help you guys know when a smart move, when a smart time to buy in would be. Again, just to reiterate, the last time we attacked the all-time high, which is this white line here, and I know because I've done this a million times. Sorry, the chart gets kind of wacky there. You can see up here is the prior all-time high. We just draw a line across, and we see it went up. My point here is no matter what FOMO you're feeling in the coming days, just know that it could pull back very, very hard and leave you completely underwater. And this is a very common move. It's called colloquially, whatever the word is, like commonly, just kind of as a fun way to say it. The fuck you margin traders. The fuck the margin traders move. So if anybody was long from there or above, you would most likely set your stops below it. Maybe even a few percent, you know, below that, 10% below it, whatever. Thinking that, oh, we're going to go on to the next, you know, whatever's beyond the all-time high. I'm so smart. I got it. The guys with money will intentionally shove it back down. And just a quick secret, when you sign your terms of service for your exchanges that you trade on, they literally say that they trade against you. You're trading against the exchanges. You didn't know that. Now you know. You get the little rainbow go across my head. The more you know. So you're trading against guys that see the order books and everything. They know how the dominoes are stacked, and they know just how to push it to cause an event like this. So they will knock you out of your position just so that they can then allow it to go on and attack the all-time high and break it. Okay, do you see? Like this is an intentional move. The whales are the ones pushing it up, selling it back off to break below this very clean level. And then they'll allow it to continue on. That's my point. So you either have to stomach the sell-off and know that it'll be fine in the coming weeks, or be the guy who takes profit up here and then kind of, you know, buy somewhere down here. So I don't know if the exact same thing will happen. Who knows, right? But it wouldn't be crazy to think that a move like that might occur. So let's actually kind of speculate. Where would where would the most margin traders have entries right now where if there was a sell-off or a retrace or something, it would knock them out of position? Well, I would argue that it's actually that, which is about 14,000. Okay. So as we continue to climb, even if we go all the way up to the all-time high, I would watch for some sort of like 1 or 2 week sell-off to catch back up with the 20-week moving average, right? Which is continually moving up. And about this, like right now, that 20-week moving average is somewhere in here, right? We had already talked about that. It's 11.4 or so. So it's actually like perfectly on this little trend line. And something like that wouldn't be crazy. And that's all I'm trying to say is you got to fight that FOMO feeling and understand that no matter how fast it moves, we're here for the long macro play. We're not here for the, you know, the very quick hand job. Like we're here for the multi 50x play that Bitcoin has in store for it. So you want to have show some patience, show some restraint in your entries so that you can really get that payoff. All right, that's it. Like we might, I don't know what's going to happen. No crystal balls. We could completely retrace and then, you know, like pull back from here and then go. But regardless, always look and see if there's a way for a margin trader to get fucked, because more times than not, they will. Especially like, look at this COVID sell-off. This is the COVID dump, when literally everything sold off. And you can see how if you were long, no matter where you margin longed from, like even from back in there, you got stopped out. You done. And I know that it had to do with COVID and everyone was selling and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't change the fact that if you had some kind of margin long with the stop loss, you either got liquidated or you got stopped out. Time will tell. All right, Tex. G.I. Joe jumps out. Yeah, exactly. Atani says this is where it doesn't pull back and it goes to the all-time high. That's actually what I'm proposing. Like, I wonder if that's what's happening right now, which would be crazy. But there's a lot of things kind of hinting at that. Like, funding is not even bullish right now. There's not people going massively margin long like we have seen historically. Like when we see stuff like that, that was kind of the sign of our top right here. And here we haven't even seen anyone really load up like that. So, you know, the beatings will continue until morale improves. You've heard that saying. Like the bears will continue to get fucked until the bulls get overly optimistic and they're like, oh yeah, we got it. No brakes on this train. Here we go. So that's kind of what I'll be watching, especially like multiple days closing bullishly. And then that may be a sign that, hey, we're going to go back and retest that 20-week moving average. We'll see. All right. Kabina, yeah, waiting for that. Exactly right. Okay. WEAG, sinking some money in crypto for 6 months may be a bad idea. No, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think it's tough for me to say like reasonably that the price it is right now is a smart time to bulk buy. Now, if you were going to dollar cost average in, or like I tell my friends, if you only have $1,000, don't think of that as $1,000 or whatever the Bitcoin equivalent is like right at this moment. Think of that as 10 $100 entries. Okay. And you want to space those entries out so that maybe you bought there and there and there and there. There's 4, there's 5. Oh, and then you bought 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So yeah, your first 5 were up in there, but your second 5 were down in there, and your average is in here, right? So the kind of right at the 11,000 range. That's kind of how you want to think about entering here. Long drawn out, multiple entries, especially on these huge up candles and these like massive straight vertical 50% runs in 4 weeks or whatever we said it was. It's hard to be just in. You're gonna want to buy that because that's just human nature to FOMO into stuff like that. But I would never say that that's like the smart thing to do. Itani, if everyone expects it to hit dumb numbers, 20K is nothing then. Yeah, right. If you can just leave it in, even if you went all in now and then you accepted the possibility for it to pull all the way back to like 12 or 13K before it continued, then that's fine. You know, just leave it. You're not gonna, long term, you're not gonna lose money. Atani, I wouldn't put money now. That's why I put money in when it was moving sideways a while back. Yeah, sideways is always a good time to do it. But look, guys, I stream 3 times a week. We're gonna check this out. Literally every stream, we will pull up the 20 weekly moving average and we'll see where it is. And in fact, one of the things I'll probably do is say like, okay, let's just pretend, and I'll probably like actually do this, but like for the stream, let's just pretend we margin longed from this point. Ready, go. Like, and we'll just kind of very overtly test some of these theories. All right, 20 weekly moving average, we just hit it. What would happen if we margin longed right here? I'd be too scared to put money in right now. Yeah. Sir, why'd you call me an idiot earlier? I hope you idiots bought Bitcoin. You know, it's not a big deal, Havens. Don't feel bad. Atani sold all his back like in the $9,000 range, so don't feel too bad. Plus, it's not, I mean, it's not a huge deal. Price has only gone up 50% in like 4 weeks. I'm sure CSGO skins did the same thing, right? It's no big deal. No big deal. Because you got a Lotus instead of ETH. Oh, good. You're in. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Havens, you got a Lotus? Hold up. How did I miss this? Havens has a Lotus. Are you serious? I need to hear more about that. Weag, at least the $50 Bitcoin that Jack gave me is now worth 66. So there's that. Hell yeah, dude. You don't anymore? You had a Lotus? That's awesome. Holy shit. So I'm going to tell you something funny. Talking about the $50, I'm pulling up my BlockFi. So I tweeted out a little while ago. Check this out. Can you read that? $113. I know it's like flipped, it's reversed or whatever. But back right during the COVID dump, a lot of exchanges were hurting because people weren't trading and everyone was like mass selling and they were scared. And so BlockFi in particular put out a deal where they said, hey, just sign up. We'll give you $50. And so I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. Just to see, like, at the end of the bull run, what is that $50 going to be worth? That could be kind of a cool experiment, right? Is that $500 from a 10x? Is it $5,000 from a 100x? You know, what's it going to be? So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. I'll tweet that out every now and then. We'll see what's what. Havens, to be honest, I barely fuck with CS now, but stocks have been good, man. I think stocks will continue to be good because no matter who wins the presidency, like newsflash, there's going to be more money printing, more US dollars or whatever, you know, pick your country of choice. And there's going to be all kinds of just straight money printing, inflation, et cetera, et cetera. And just like all these big boys who, these Wall Street giants who are putting like $500 million into Bitcoin, they are specifically saying, I am doing this as a Bitcoin hedge. Full stop. Sorry, I'm doing this as a inflation hedge. Full stop. That's the key reason they're all listing. I can't. Havens, I can't do the alphabet starting from Z. How do you want me to read your flip shit? Yeah, sorry. It's because I flipped the camera. People were yelling at me. I would have like shirts and stuff. Maybe a flip back or something. I don't know. I do also Senate for Republicans is good for stocks. Yes. No, I agree. I agree. In fact, the fact that the Senate is one way and the presidency is the other, like, for, you know, mix it up. Say Trump won, but the presidency, and then the Democrats won the Senate. I still think that would be good too, because there's some checks and balances in place, and people are like, ah, well, okay, well, if homeboy goes crazy, Biden or Trump, at least there's someone on the other side to pump the brakes a little bit. We have some recourse. We're not just totally screwed. Definitely going to be good till a sell off before 21. Maybe. You know, a lot of people were talking about gold tanking because, hey, we're out of the scare, right? Like, don't worry. This was the COVID sell-off right here. And then the market, the gold market went from the COVID lows to about 50% up, 40% up, to break its prior all-time highs, where it's consolidated right at the prior all-time highs. And you can kind of draw this a number of ways. You know, maybe this has more touches, so maybe that's the better way to do it. I don't know. Whatever. But we're consolidating above it, and I think it's going to continue on. So I literally think as inflation increases, which we're going to see rampant inflation, in my opinion, as that goes on, you're going to see gold go up, stocks go up, Bitcoin go up. 1, 2, 3. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So take your pick. We'll see what happens. The thing about stocks is, will they go up fast enough to offset inflation and make it make sense? Because like we covered in my last stream, $100 in 1950, okay, and this is from the US government websites, $100 in 1950 is the equivalent, as far as purchasing power goes, due to inflation, of $1,000 today. So $100 then is $1,000 today, just, you know, 50, 60 years later. And that was with no COVID-19 money printing events. That was like standard issue, you know, easy breezy, just normal year-to-year stuff. So what's going to happen 50 years from now, or say 10 years from now? And if that inflation increases, that rate of inflation, if it goes up higher, will whatever stocks you buy or gold you buy be able to keep up with that where it makes sense? Because the people I feel the worst for right now, and I mean this, like, that my heart hurts for these guys because I work with a lot of them, is the elderly that were raised like in the 60s and 70s to believe, oh, well, if I can have enough money that I put it into stocks, or I put it into a CD or a bank savings, that I'll earn enough on that to not have to work again. And then I'll just live off of that. But like Wells Fargo CD rates and savings rates right now are 0.01. So you're not going to get shit for savings at any bank, any traditional bank. And inflation is about to melt your face. And it's kind of already started. Let's look at a few inflation related charts. So this is your inflation chart. This is showing you, this is a consumer price index over time. For basic, what you're supposed to take away from this is, okay, so if I was in like 1990 and I bought a good, that same good would cost 100% more today as far as dollars. Now, what's double hitting you here in our current modern day situation is that people are losing faith in the dollar specifically. And the dollar is doing this death dance where it's either going to pull one of these break below the trade range and then come back and everything's fine, or it's going to actually break and capitulate down, which would be a loss of the purchasing power of the dollar against versus other currencies, right? Versus the euro, the yen, on and on. We would lose, because I am American, so that's why I say we. It would lose about 15% of its competitive value. So imagine a scenario where inflation makes normal goods go up, and then at the same time, the dollar is 15% less valuable versus other currencies, which is crazy. But that's kind of what we're like. If we're crystal balling it, that is the perfect storm for Bitcoin. Because if you lose faith in the dollar, what are you gonna, like, globally? Like, if you were in charge of big billion-dollar oil markets and stuff, where do you put your money? And I know Bitcoin the volatility of Bitcoin worries people, but if you're worried about something losing 15% at the same time the money printer go burr, and inflation is making it where goods are just starting to skyrocket, that is the perfect way to segue a global economy into Bitcoin. Oh, guys, I've been just ranting for an hour 15. I'm like all up on my preacher soapbox, just going on and on. Love my Bitcoin. Okay, let's talk about a Dogecoin play in the making that I'm watching. Remember, earlier we were talking about signs that Bitcoin may be attacking its all-time high very soon. Doge is actually another indicator that I'm watching. And there's not one thing that will tell you what's going on, like that will give you a perfect view or a perfect outlook of what's going on. But if we have several of these things that have like a 60 to 80% chance of being like pretty useful, and we've got like 4 or 5 of them that we're checking, you know, eventually if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck, right? I should add a Dogecoin emote. Yeah. Oh, Havens, I missed your comment too. Still tons of that fucking quantitative easing coming in with the stimulus isn't good for DXY. Been deep silver gold for a while. Good, man. You're smart. You're a smart dude. All right, back to what I was saying here though. Just like Litecoin coming to its apex, its multi-year apex, and consolidating, and just like several alts are breaking down from their trade ranges, starting on the Bitcoin pairs. What else was there? Just like Ethereum is starting to break out on its USD chart, as though it's undergone successfully Wyckoff accumulation. We now have Dogecoin returning and making what could be a mirror image of what happened the last time Bitcoin broke its all-time high. So this is what Dogecoin did on the Bitcoin pair. Now, one of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to be the same thing again, which would suggest we are, you know, weeks or less away from this happening. This right here is Bitcoin breaking its prior all-time high. And then you can see Doge went on to just absolutely melt faces. This is a 10x. This candle right here is a 10x. So if you put in 1 Bitcoin at the beginning, you would have pulled out 10 Bitcoin at the end of it. That's a 10x on the Bitcoin pair, which is pretty wild. But what could be happening is the same thing. So either that is what's going to happen, boom, or we have something new and it's actually going to break down. So what I'm arguing with this chart, what I'm showing here is that buying 15 Satoshi Doge may be a very, very smart thing to do, because it may be the same move. Now, it hit 16 Satoshis today. So if 15 is as low as it gets, because that's the previous all-time low, and the whales did not allow it to go any further, twice, two scenarios that happened, then is that the same thing that's going to happen here, or are we just headed to new lows? So time will tell. I will be entering a Doge position, but I am first waiting for Bitcoin to attack its all-time high. I want to see an attack of the all-time high at the same time these lows actually hold. So like 16 Satoshis. If it starts to break down below it and maybe retest and keep going, then I'm not in. I'll look for another entry. But I need to see it hit it, hold, and the Bitcoin USD hit its all-time high. Those are my conditions. Woo! Okay. What do you got? What do you guys got? What do you guys think? I like the Dogecoin emote. That's actually a good call. Oh. Talking your ear off. TRX. I'm glad we got out of that. I'm glad we got out of that because I wanted that to be accumulation as well, but very clear it was not.